Hi, I'm Marci Chavalas, and it's story time. Today's story is from the Ordinary People Change the World series, and it's called I Am Sonia Sotomayor by Brad Meltzer. For those of you who like to read AR books, this is an AR quiz, AR book. It is quiz number 198940, and it's level 4.1, worth a half a point. I enjoy the Ordinary People Change the World series. And on the back, it gives us some more information about the story. I am Sonia Sotomayor. I am proof that with opportunity comes justice. Sonia Sotomayor learned to speak Spanish before she spoke English, and she had barely started walking before she learned to run. Full of energy and dedication, Sonia read every book she can get her hands on as a child, and she especially loved detective stories. Those stories inspired her to become a lawyer, the New York City's first Hispanic federal judge, and finally the third woman and first Hispanic justice of the United States Supreme Court. I'm very excited to keep reading this book and to learn more about her story. How about you? All right, let's grow. I am Sonia Sotomayor. In Spanish, that's Yo soy Sonia Sotomayor. I was born in New York City and my family came from Puerto Rico. I learned to speak Spanish before I spoke English. Maybe that's like you. Do you know how to speak another language, or did you learn a language before you learned English? It's really cool to be able to have the skill to speak multiple languages. My family called me Ahi, which means hot pepper, because I was always jumping around and finding trouble. My mother used to say, she learned to walk at 7 months and ran the very same day. Even when my mother or my abuelita, my grandmother, dressed me up, my clothes would get wrinkled. Ribbons never stayed in my hair. You're already a mess. What should we do with her? There's nothing wrong with her, just too much energy. Are you very energetic too, just like Sonia? I know I have lots of energy, so I can identify with her. When we see ourselves in the characters in a story, it's making a text to self connection. So we're making connections with the book, and that's one thing that good readers do while they're reading. One time, I got my head stuck in a bucket while I was trying to hear what my voice sounded like inside. Sonia, what have you done now? Hello in there. Oh no. I also love making up games, jousting like a knight with my little brother on my back. George! Crash! Sonia, what have you done now? One of my favorite places was my abuelita's apartment. Entering her home was like going straight to Puerto Rico. Once a month at abuelita's, my family and my aunts would make sofrito, a spicy sauce. As they chopped peppers, onions, and tomatoes, I'd sneak to eat them right out of the blender. Sonia, what have you done now? Te vas a enfermar. You'll get sick. You can't eat it raw. She's so bold. The grown-ups played lots of music and games too, like dominoes. Tu estás ciego? It's right in front of your eyes. Does your family play games too? Or make special foods that you get to sneak a little piece of while it's being made? I know when my mom would be cooking, my grandma would be cooking, I'd help chop some of the vegetables or shred the cheese, and I'd grab a little bit to take a taste because it was so yummy and I didn't want to miss out on any of the flavors. One of my favorite moments was when everyone would go quiet and my abuelita would perform for us. She looked so glamorous. We'd all be mesmerized as she read one of her favorite Puerto Rican poems by Jose Gautier Benitez. Para poder conocerla es preciso compararla de lejos en sueños verla, y para saber quererla es necesario dejarla. You know it, you need to see it in dreams from afar. To learn how to love it, you need to leave it. I understood what the poem meant. I had so many dreams. When I was little, I used to imagine myself as the hero of my favorite book series, Nancy Drew, Girl Detective. Nancy was a master at doing puzzles, and no matter what got in her way, she could figure things out. She lived in a big house and solved crimes with her dad. Since he was a lawyer, he'd give her the best hints. Country club for dinner, my little blue roadster. I can't wait to be a detective when I grow up. Are there books that you like to read like Sonia does? Do they give you ideas and help you dream for the future? I know I love to read just like she did. In my neighborhood, dreams like that rarely came true. There weren't any detectives who looked like me. We didn't live in a fancy house. We lived in a small apartment. My mother was a nurse, so I knew some Puerto Rican nurses, but there was only one Puerto Rican doctor. At the stores where we shopped, there were a lot of Puerto Rican workers, but few managers or owners, and even few lawyers and detectives. This is where I grew up. It's the Bronx, a neighborhood in New York City. Pretty different from Nancy Drew, huh? It wasn't that my Puerto Rican neighbors didn't work hard. People aren't poor because they're lazy. My mother worked long hours to pay our bills, but sometimes where you live affects the kind of opportunities you have. My mom worked extra hours so she could pay to send my brother and me to a more respected school where we get a better education. But even with a good school, my young life was still pretty complicated. If you live in a nice neighborhood like Nancy Drew, you can go to school like this. That looks nice and safe. But if you live in a neighborhood like mine, you get a school that has fewer supplies and isn't as safe. That definitely isn't nice. Welcome to the Bronx. When I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with diabetes, a disease that means your body keeps too much sugar in your blood. I was strong. I could handle the shot. You'll be okay, but you'll have to get a shot every day. Oh, look at her face. She looks very worried. I know I'd worry too because I don't like shots. How about you? Definitely wouldn't like a shot every day, but it looks like this is something that Sonia has to do to keep her body healthy, even though she might not like it. She's having to deal with some tough things, like her mom having to work extra long to take care of her, her going to a different school, and having to get shots. Something even harder happened later that year. My father died. Oh no. I know that must be very, very difficult. It was like an earthquake in my life. My world started to change and felt scary. One of the ways I found comfort was doing what you're doing right now, reading. I loved books. In that book, I learned that my name was a version of Sophia, meaning wisdom. Books gave me a rocket ship, not only around the world, but through the world. This book that a doctor lent to me was my favorite. It was filled with stories of Greek gods and heroes. Has something big and scary or sad happened to you, like it did to Sonia? What's a healthy way that you use to help you get through that? Is it praying, talking to your friends, doing art, listening to music, maybe reading like Sonia? There are many different ways for us to deal with hard things in our life, just like Sonia is. Those days were hard for my mom. Well, I can imagine that would be very hard when she lost her husband and she's having to work by herself to take care of 2 kids. She had to pay for 2 kids all by herself, but it didn't slow her down. She ordered us a full set of the Encyclopedia Britannica. When it arrived, it was like an early Christmas. So back then, the way that you got information was you had to read books or go to the library because there wasn't internet, so you couldn't just look it up. So the Encyclopedia Britannica was like Wikipedia, where you would learn about whatever it is that you looked up. 24 volumes in our house? I got the M's on every topic. I got the F's. Fauna, flora, Florida. Mitosis, meiosis, Mendel's Garden of Peas. Tell me what's not in these books. You've got to get your education. It's the only way to get ahead in the world. Each book was so heavy. It was like we lived in a library. The books were expensive too. My mom struggled to make the payments. But with the encyclopedia, the world expanded before me in 1,000 new directions. There was another reason why my world continued to change. My teachers. Every teacher has the power to inspire us kids. This one realized I love to compete and win. That's Miss Riley. She put a gold star on the blackboard when you did something well. Nice job, Sonia. You too, Donna. I wanted those stars. One gold star for each of you. I wanted to collect them all. The first time I got an A grade on my report card, I made a promise to myself that I would add one more A each time. With grades like that, I was on my way to becoming a detective. Oh, it's fun to get those stars. I remember when I was little, we would get stars for getting an A on a spelling test, and I definitely wanted to get stars every week, and I did. Do you work hard towards something that you really want too? I wonder what it is. Did that mean everything was suddenly easy? Not in my neighborhood. Where we lived, if you didn't lock up your bike, it usually got stolen. And if you walked down the wrong alley, someone might try to beat you up. Once, I found my little brother surrounded by bullies, so I walked over to protect him. If you're gonna beat him up, you gotta beat me up too. My sister was as tough as nails. Wow, I like that she's standing up for her brother. That didn't mean I couldn't be hurt. One day I was reading about diabetes. It said that people with diabetes like me could be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, even a teacher. But because of my disease, if I couldn't be a police officer, I couldn't be a detective, which meant I couldn't be like Nancy Drew. What? That's sad. If she really wanted to be a police officer, and she couldn't. She wanted to be a detective like Nancy Drew, but they said because she had diabetes, she couldn't. That must have been really discouraging for her. I was devastated. I wasn't defeated. Oh, I liked her attitude. She's like, she was sad, but she said, nope, I'm going to keep on trying. I quickly found a new role model on a TV show. He was a lawyer named Perry Mason. He used his smarts in the courtroom to figure out the truth behind each crime. This man is innocent. He must get justice. So the lawyer is the hero? Perry Mason was definitely the hero of the show, but I was more fascinated by a different character, the judge. Every episode, no matter what Perry Mason was trying to do, it was the judge who made the final decision. Nothing happens until the judge says so. Perry Mason can't do anything until he asks the judge for permission. Whatever you say, Ahi. It's the most important moment of the show. It was hard to understand every detail, but I could tell that each case was like a good puzzle, a complicated game with its own rules. From there, I knew I could be a great lawyer, even a great judge. To be a judge, I had to learn to speak in front of others. My first practice session was in church during a Bible reading. Good speakers have to look at people and make eye contact. But I was nervous. I was so nervous I used this trick. I stared at people's foreheads instead. They had no idea. Oh, that's a good trick. I did it, and I knew I could do it again. In high school, I joined forensics, which trains you in public speaking and debate. I won first prize in a speaking contest, but I also learned that one of the most important parts of making a good argument is being a good listener. My talk was about how we have a responsibility to look out for each other. Yet perhaps the best thing I learned in forensics came from one of the student coaches. A counselor at school had told me to apply to a local college, but the coach told me I could go farther. Try for the Ivy League. But those are some of the best schools in the country. Aim for one of the top colleges. My parents never even went to college, like Harvard, Princeton, or Yale. It sounded impossible. I didn't think kids from South Bronx could get into fancy schools like Princeton. But like my abuelita's poem said, to get what you want, you must dream it. What are you doing, Ahi? Applying to Princeton. I was valedictorian of my high school class. Would they accept me? I got in! I'm going to Princeton! Yes! Oh, wow. It looks like she's really working hard in everything she does so that she can get ready to follow her dreams. Do you work hard at the things that are important to you too? You could be like Sonia. Princeton seemed like a different planet. Most of the kids here came from wealthy neighborhoods and fancy schools. They were used to skiing trips, tennis lessons, and vacations in Europe. I'd barely ever left the Bronx. Whoa, Sonia, what have you done now? I'm not exactly sure, Mommy. That first week at college, I couldn't sleep because I heard a cricket in my room. In New York, we didn't have trees outside our windows. Sonia, it's not in your room. It's outside on the tree. Even though I got really homesick, I again found that books made me feel better. Here in the Firestone Library, I saw just how much knowledge there was in the world. During my time at Princeton, I did so well they invited me into Phi Beta Kappa, an honor society that recognizes top students. I almost threw away the invitation thinking it was a fake jewelry scam. Oh no. Says here I made summa cum laude. That's amazing. You excited? Of course I'm excited. What's summa cum laude? It means with highest honor in Latin. That means you got some of the best grades in the whole school. I never heard of the awards they gave me, including the Pine Prize, the most prestigious award a Princeton senior can win. To some people, athletes or astronauts are heroes. To me, the best action hero was a lawyer. That's what I wanted to be. So after graduation, I went to Yale Law, the top law school in the country. A lawyer's job is to help people. You can use the law as a force for good, as a way to protect the community and to help people make peace. During my third year at law school, I walked by a meeting that was offering free snacks. I was a bit hungry, so I stepped inside, stumbling into a presentation that would change my life. I know lawyers can make a lot of money in a law firm, but I'd like you to consider a public service job where you can help other people and seek justice in a courtroom. Seek justice in a courtroom? That's what Perry Mason used to do. This is Robert Morgenthau, the New York District Attorney. Inspired by my old dreams, I became an assistant district attorney. As a prosecutor, my job was to find the truth and to make sure that if someone committed a crime, they didn't get away with it. When I started, there were so few Hispanic and female prosecutors, the other lawyers would ask me, "When's your boss getting here?" I am the boss. It didn't stop me from doing my job. I just had to convince the jury to agree with me. This man is a thief. He should be punished. Do you know the real reason juries love Sonia? She could talk to all people, young, old, rich, poor, people of all races and backgrounds. Sonia understood everyone. I also understood that when people don't get along, it's usually because they can't imagine how someone else is feeling. From there, I had a few different jobs as a lawyer, until one day I heard that the U.S. District Court in Manhattan was looking for a new judge. You have to apply, Sonia. I don't know. That's a really tough job to get. You'd be perfect. My boss was so determined, he put the application on my desk and made sure I had no other work that would get in the way of it. This was my dream, wasn't it? Well, I like how Sonia's meeting people like her boss and this district attorney that are helping inspire her to be great and to do the best that she can with the skills that she has. Maybe you can be someone that encourages someone else to follow their dreams, like they encouraged Sonia. Of course it was, and it was coming true. I became the city's first Hispanic federal judge, and its youngest as well. Now my job was to make sure that in each case, people followed the laws correctly. During my very first trial, I was so nervous my knees were actually knocking. All rise. Your Honor, we have a question. Once the case got started, my panic passed. I was ready to do my job, and also ready for what was coming next when I was promoted to the Court of Appeals. Soon I was considered for the biggest legal job of all, being a justice on the Supreme Court of the United States. That's the court where the most important cases are decided. The justices are the ones who make those decisions. I was worried that the job would change my life, but a friend told me, Sonia, this is not about you. This is about the little girls and boys, brown and black, who live in poor communities around the nation. They can dream bigger if you are on the Supreme Court. It made me think about the South Bronx. It made me think that there were no Hispanic female lawyers for me to follow at Princeton, Yale, the district attorney's office, or even as a judge. It made me think about all the people I could inspire. When I was little, did I ever dream about being a Supreme Court Justice? You can't dream about what you don't know about. If I wanted others to have this dream, here's more people encouraging her, her friends, reminding her that she could do it and that she could make a difference. Maybe you can be the same. So she says, if I wanted others to have this dream, I needed to show them it was possible. On October 8, 2009, at 55 years old, I was sworn in as the first Hispanic and third female justice to ever serve on the Supreme Court of the United States. During the ceremony, I made sure that my mother was standing right between me and the Chief Justice. When I told reporters how much of a role she played in my accomplishments, my mother humbly said that she didn't know what she did, but I do. Remember, no one is self-made. No matter who you are, everyone gets help from someone. Sonia, what have you done now? And here's the Chief Justice, John Roberts. So I love that she reminded us that everybody needs help from someone. Sonia got help from a lot of different people. And there are people all around you. I want you to take time and notice the people who are helping you. Maybe you've got teachers or coaches, friends, parents, grandparents, cousins, other family members, people from church, all the people that are helping you to reach for your dreams. In my life, I was Yahi, the hot pepper, the one who couldn't slow down. Because of where I was from, because I was poor and Latina, some people didn't think I would go far. But there were others who helped my dreams come to life. They gave me opportunities and reminded me to keep going. Those are the people you need to listen to. Pay attention to the ones who believe in you. The more you learn, the farther you'll go. Education is a rocket ship. It can take you anywhere, but no matter how high you fly, never forget where you started. Today, Justice Sotomayor still uses many of her public speeches to talk to women's or minority groups. She's also been on Sesame Street twice. Justice Sotomayor tries to end each day asking two questions. What did I learn new today? And what act of giving did I do today? If she didn't learn something new, she reads. If she didn't do any giving, she sends an email to someone she cares about. Don't worry about whether your dream will come true. A good dream will always stir something amazing inside you. Whether it's English, Spanish, or any other language, our dreams are often the same. A loving family, kind friends, a safe place to call home, and the chance to reach our potential. The world outside your window is the starting point, but there's so much more beyond that. Read, study, do right by people. No matter where you're born, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. I am Sonia Sotomayor. Yo soy Sonia Sotomayor. I am proof that with opportunity comes justice. Look at all the people that she's inspired, and her story is still inspiring people right now. Here's a picture of Sonia Sotomayor, and she says that remember that no one succeeds alone. Here's Sonia with her brother and mother being sworn in as a Supreme Court Justice. Here's Sonia as a Princeton student. And here are the U.S. Supreme Court Justices in 2018. And here's a timeline of all of her life and accomplishments from when she was born till about 2009, and it still continues. I am so thankful that you joined me for reading today. If you enjoyed this and you want other people to enjoy this story, click the like button right now so that more people can hear about this story. If you would like to hear about the next book that's coming out before anyone else, go ahead and click the subscribe button right now. All right, have a great day, and thank you once again. Bye.